Hello everyone, I welcome you all to our learning table series for the month of April. I hope my voice is audible to everyone and also my screen is visible to everyone. If so, can you all provide me with few confirmations? Yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for the confirmation. All right, so let's get started now. So I once again welcome you all to our learning table series for the month of April. I hope many of you are already familiar with what is learning table series. But in case if we have any new attendees to our today's session, then here is a quick introduction about learning table series. So learning table series is a month-on-month series where we will be exploring industry-specific use case and we'll be showcasing you how you can build a powerful application to solve every business needs. Right. So. In order to that, in today's session, we are going to focus on the asset management. So for the month of April, we are planning to showcase you the asset management. So in today's session, we will be showcasing this asset management, where this application will help you in assigning the will help you in requesting for the assets and assigning the assets to the different employees and keeping a track of all the assets, so all that can be maintained in one single application, right? So that is something we are going to look in for today's session. And before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Niveta and I'll be the trainer for the session. And also we have few housekeeping rules that needs to be followed throughout the session. So all the attendees will be on mute. If you guys have any questions in between the session, you can post your questions in the question tab, where we have our dedicated co-trainer who will be answering all of your questions, right? And also we will be sharing the recording of this particular session to all the attendees. So whoever is attending our session, they will be receiving the recording of this particular session, right? And also in between the session, we will be conducting few polls and survey. So again, we would like each and every one of you to actively participate in those polls and survey, right? And before we get started, I would like to turn off my camera for the better screen visibility. So just give me a second, I'll turn off the camera. So I hope this is pretty much clear to everyone. Now let's move on by understanding the agenda for our today's session. So we will have a quick introduction about the asset management, and followed by that we will be understanding the asset management life cycle, how exactly the asset management works, right? And followed by that we will be understanding our application process flow, so in which way we will be understanding how exactly the application functions, right? And followed by that, I'll be giving you a live demonstration on the application, where I'll be giving a detailed overview detailed overview of the application, right? And followed by that, we will also be discussing about the AI enhancement. So in this particular section, we will be discussing about the different AI that you have in Creator. Different AIs that you have in Creator, how you can implement those AI inside your asset management. So where and when you can implement the AI, that is something we'll be discussing in the AI enhancements, right? Followed by that, we will also be discussing about the extended use cases. So this is pretty much about our agenda for today's session. So now let's get started with a quick introduction about what is asset management. So asset management is nothing but it is a systematic process where it allows you to plan, acquire, track, maintaining, and optimize an organization's assets to maximize their value and efficiency. It can be any sort of industry. It can be the IT, it can be a manufacturing industry, or it can be infrastructure. So like this, it can be any sort of industry, and in all these sort of industry, there will be different sort of assets that a particular person will be maintaining, right? And also it involves both the tangible assets such as the equipment, machinery, vehicles, and the IT hardware. And also it involves the intangible assets such as the software, patents, and the intellectual properties throughout their life cycle, right? So basically, whatever in every industry, there is going to be an asset, and those assets will be maintained by the maintained by a particular person, right? Now, talking about the asset management life cycle, so there is going to be 6 different phases within this life cycle. So starting with the first one, which is planning and acquisition. So here is where you will be identify the asset needs, procure efficiently, and ensure the compliance part. So you will be identifying the business needs and define the asset requirement, right? And the next comes the deployment. In the deployment and commissioning, you will be doing all the different sorts of installing the asset and configuring the asset for the usage, right? And followed by that, you have the utilization and performance management. So this is nothing but it helps us in optimizing the asset usage for maximum efficiency, where you can go ahead and monitor the asset performance and track the utilization, and also it resolves the operational issues and different sort of incidents, right? And followed by that, you have the maintenance and support. So maintenance and supports are nothing but here is where you will conduct the routine inspections and preventive maintenance. So basically you will maintain and repair the assets to extend their lifespan. And then you have the upgrade and optimization. So in the upgrade and optimization, you will enhance the asset performance through upgrades and modifications. So basically you can assess the asset performance and identify the necessary upgrades. So whenever or wherever the any upgrades is required for your asset, that case you will be going into the upgrade and optimization phase, right? And the last part is the decommissioning and disposal. So here is where your asset will retire and dispose. I mean, here's where you will be your asset will be retired and you will be disposing the assets while ensuring any sort of compliance. So basically you can conduct an end of life assessment to determine the disposal method. Even you can wipe data from digital assets to ensure the security, and you can even document disposal and maintain the compliance records, right? So these are all the different stages that the asset involves, right? So this is about the generic asset management life cycle. Now, understanding what are all the different industries where the asset is being maintained, we have the information technology. So when we talk about the information technology, where we will be managing the software, the hardware, and the digital assets to ensure the security, compliance, and the efficiency, right? I mean, the key assets involved here are the computers, servers, networking equipment. All these different sort of softwares and hardwares are maintained within the information technology. Whereas talking about the manufacturing industry, so in the manufacturing industry, you can optimize the machinery, equipment, and production process for efficiency and the reliability. So where you will have multiple machineries to produce a particular product, right? So all those machinery will become an individual assets. So that is something you can maintain it within the manufacturing. And talking about the infrastructure, so here in the infrastructure, you will be managing the physical infrastructure assets to ensure the longevity, efficiency, and the sustainability. So while we're talking about the key assets for the infrastructure, for example, let's say the roads, bridges, tunnels, and power grids, water supply system, railways, airports, seaports, all those are, I mean, all these are the different assets that involved in the infrastructure. Then comes the real estate. So in the real estate, you can go ahead and maximize the value and profitability of the real estate assets through proper maintenance and strategic investment. So talking about the real estate key assets, we have the commercial buildings and the office spaces, the residential properties and rental units. So all these different spaces, individual spaces, are something that we call it as the asset in the real estate, right? So these are all the few of the different industries where you can efficiently maintain all of your assets, right? Now let us get into the application process flow. So this is where we are going to understand how the application works. So in today's session, we will be exploring the asset management, right? So here, before exploring the application, we will be understanding the application's process flow, right? So Starting with the setup. So this is the flow. So starting with the setup. So setup is a separate module, and within the setup we have different modules like preferences. So in the preferences you have the work order templates, the products, the users, and the vendors. So here the work order template is where you will be doing different sort of configurations for your product. So for the assets, so for each and every assets it requires a certain maintenance and certain work orders, right? So that is something you will predefine within your work order templates. And then you have the products. So products are nothing but here you will be maintaining, this is going to act as the product master, where you will be maintaining all of your products that you acquire from the vendor, right? And then the users. So users are nothing but whoever whoever you would like to add as an internal user. So for example, let's say you in an organization there is going to be multiple people who will be working, right? So there can be employee who will be requesting for a certain assets, and there can be another department employees who will be requesting for the asset, right? So those user can be added over here along with the defined permissions. And the vendor. So vendor, as you're maintaining the assets, you will obviously go ahead and procure different assets from the different vendors, right? So those vendor information you will be adding it within the vendor form. Followed by that you have the asset request. So here is where the employees will be requesting for the asset. The once the employee requests for an asset, the next process is going to be the approval process, where the employee's reporting manager will be approving the request. Once it is, the approved request will be reviewed by the IT, which is the admin, the IT asset admin. They will be reviewing the asset request. So in the review, when they are reviewing, if the products are in stock, they will go ahead and assign the asset to the employee. Whereas if it is out of stock, then it goes for the procurement, where the procurer will be raising the purchase order to the vendor. And once you receive the assets or the product from the vendor, you will be receiving the GRN, which is the goods received note, and then you will be generating the asset and you will assign the asset to the respective employee. So this is exactly how it works when it is in stock and when it is out stock, right? And followed by that, so once you assign the asset and once the employees start using the respective asset, there might be a situation where the assets can have any defects. It might not work, or there can be any display issues, right? So in order to go ahead and have it add a complaint to in order to raise a complaint for any sort of issues, we have a separate complaints module. So within this complaints module, we can go ahead and the employee can go ahead and raise the complaint, and this complaint will be approved by the manager. So the manager will check whether it is a valid complaint. So once he approves the complaint, the next is going to be he will be assigning the technician. So the technician is the one who will be dedicatedly working on all these different sort of complaints, right? So once they assign the technician, a work order will be generated, and once the technician completes the work, then he will be mark the work is completed, right? So this flow is respectively for the compliance. And over here in the setup, you would have already configured the work order template, right? So that is something you will be using it within the work order generate over here, right? And apart from the compliance, we have the preventive maintenance. So preventive maintenance is nothing but any and every assets will go for a particular maintenance, which can be a scheduled maintenance, or it can be any sort of maintenance, right? So we have this preventive maintenance, where whenever you just go ahead and give the asset to any of the employees, already you would have predefined a scheduled maintenance. So based on the schedule, all the maintenance activities will go through within the assets, right? And also you have the auto assign technician, and the work order will be completed. So these are the different flow that we will be maintaining within the preventive maintenance, right? So this is the complete application flow for the asset management, right? So I hope this is pretty much clear to everyone. Now let's move on to the live demonstration, and we will understand how the application actually works, right? So let me go to the application. So this is the application, which is asset management. I'll just open it. So as soon as you open them, you will be landing into the dashboard. So before explaining the dashboard, let me start from the setup. So this is our application for the asset management. So once you enter into the application, obviously you will be landing into the dashboard, where you will get to see all your applications KPI, right? So before explaining the dashboard, let me go ahead and explain you the setup process, right? So I'll just click on the setup. So under the setup, you have the 4 different modules: users, so users, vendors, products, and the preferences. So let me go to the users first. So I'll just click on the user. So right now we are into the users section. So here you could see we have different sort of users already defined over here, which is admin and the technician head, the assert admin, and then we have the technician, the manager, the procurer, and the employee. So admin is going to be the application's owner, right? So he will be having the whole application access. He will be having every view. He can go ahead and he will have access for each and every module that you have inside the application, right? And then you have the technician head. So there is going to be a technician head, and below that we have the different technicians. So you can add the head separately and the technician separately. So these technician will be reporting to the different technician head. And then we have the assert admin. So there is going to be a assert admin who will be reviewing your request, right? So that is something you can add it over here. And you have the technician and the manager. So manager is someone who will be who is going to be the who will be approving the different request from the employee. So you can add the manager over here. And the procurer. So procurers is nothing but whenever an item goes out of stock, the procurer will be raising the purchase order, right? So on that case, you can add different sort of different procurers in your organization. Then we have the employee. So employee is someone who is going to request for the asset, right? So all these can be added from clicking on this add user. When you just go to the respective tab and click on the add user, you can just add the employee information. And not only that, if you want to add the technician, you can just click on the technician. You can click on the add new user, and you can start adding the technician over here, right? So like this, if whenever you want to add a particular user based on these roles, you can go ahead and add them. And then we have the vendors form. So right now I have just added 2 vendors with several products that they are supplying, right? So I can just click on here, and I'll get to see the vendor information, or their organization information, their email, their all their basic information. And below that, I'll be able to see what are all the different products that they are offering, right? So like this, you can go ahead and maintain your vendor information into this vendor module. And this is going to be the portal view for the vendor. So you can just click on this add vendor, and the vendor will be adding the information. So this is going to be the vendor portal. And then we have the products. So under the products, so this is where whatever the products that you are procuring from the vendor, those product can be added over here by just clicking on this add product. You can choose the brand. If you want to add a new brand, you can add new brand, and you can give the product name, the model, category, subcategory, vendors. So vendors, whoever the vendor that you have listed, that you have already have it within your application, they will be listed here. So right now I have like two vendors, so only two are listing out over here. And if there is any product image that you have, you can upload them along with the cost, the description, any specification, and the depreciation details. So the depreciation detail is nothing but here is where you will be declaring your assets lifetime. So it can be end of life cycle, or it can be based on the usage. So if you go with the end of life cycle, you will be defining a particular year where the assets will retire. Whereas if it is usage, if the asset goes, and I mean if the asset is based on the usage, you'll be entering the usage, like overall usage and per day usage approximately, right? And below that you have the lifetime details, where you can choose whether the type is lifetime or the usage. Then the work order details. So if you have already added any work orders, that will be any work order template that will be listed over here. In case if you want to add, you can click on the add new. Then the schedule type. So here is where you will be doing the preventive maintenance. So it can be in the regular interval, or it can even be in the after completion. So the regular interval and the after completions are nothing but, when we talk about the regular interval, here you will be defining a particular frequency. So for example, let's say you want to schedule the maintenance for a particular asset every week or twice in a week, so that is something will comes under the regular interval. Whereas talking about the after completion, so here you will be defining, if one particular scheduled maintenance completed, only then the next will be scheduled. So that is the difference between regular interval and the after completion. Below that you have the next work order. So this is where you'll be defining when you're going to schedule your next work order, whether yearly, monthly, weekly, or days. That is something you'll be defining it over here. Below that you also have the warranty. In case if the product has any warranties, you will be adding them over here. If it is yes, you can provide yes. If it is no, you can just click on the no. And then we have the if you click on the s, it will also ask you like how many years or how many months that the product has the warranty. So that is something will be displayed. Let me reload. So if I just choose the s, it will ask us to mention the warranty period. And once this is done, you can submit and the product will be added. The next part comes the preferences. So here is where you will be doing the general setup, like adding your organization details, profiles. So basically in the general, what you will be doing is you can add the time zone based on your country's time zone. You can add them, and also you can define the time format, whether in 12 hours or 24 hours format. Then you have the date format. You can define the date format and the currency. So whenever in whichever country or in whichever region that you're going to use this application, based on that region you can go ahead and set up the time zone, the date format, currency, and the currency format. So since I'm using this application in India, I've just used the IST and the currency as INR. So like this, wherever you are using, you can just change them, and whatever the settings that you are updating over here, that is going to be followed throughout your application, right? And the work order templates. So as I mentioned, here is where you will be adding your work order. So certain products will have these same configurations, right? So that is something you will be doing it within your work order templates. So by just clicking on the add, you can add the product. You can just click on here and you can add the products. So whatever the products that you have stored within your system, those will be listed over here. You can choose the respective product and you can provide the work order title, work order type, either it can be the complaint or maintenance, the documents, description, work order cost, and what are all the different tasks and checklists that needs to be followed for this particular product, right? So that is something you can maintain it within the work order template. And the ID setup. So there is going to be different IDs will be generated, right? There is going to be the brand ID, purchase order ID, service ID, product ID, assert ID, and spare part ID, request ID, complaint ID. All these are the different IDs to generate to for each and every record. You would like to generate a particular ID, right? So you can just go to the ID setup and you can define your own ID for each and every IDs, like the brand or the products, right? So you can go to the edit mode and you can provide your own ID setup. And the organization, so in the organization, as I mentioned, you will be adding all of your organization details, right? So this is about the setup part, and I mean, this is about the preferences. And if you could see this particular UI, so this UI is built with the help of page component, and we have used the snippets feature as a snippet feature in the backend to build this particular UI, right? So this is actually a dashboard, and within this we have just created different we have just used the HTML and ZML snippet to build these particular UI, right? Now that's everything about the setup part. Now moving to the next, let me go to the dashboard. So within our dashboard, you could get to see the different sort of informations, like the total assets, the in stock. I'm sorry, I'll go to the dashboard. Yeah, so you could see the different dynamic values for the total assets that you have, and what are all the in stock that you have, and used what are all the assets are being used, and what are all the active assets, what are all the inactive assets, along with the values. The asset values also will be displayed below over here, right? And then you have the current status. So what are the work order, what are the maintenance that is taking place, what are all the procurements that you have requested, ongoing raised, all this can be viewed within this chart. Then below that you have the asset value. So here we have just categorized based on the different hardware, software, accessories and others. So you can see the purchase cost along with the current value. Now this application, you can go ahead and use this particular application either to the IT, or you can use them to the manufacturing or to any other industries, right? So in today's session I have just taken the IT as the use case, right? So here in the recent activities, you could see what are all the requests that I have received so far, and what are all the work orders that we have, what are all what are all the different work orders that is created, and what are all the maintenance activities that are taking place. All these I can view it within my recent activities, right? So I can just scroll down, I'll be able to see all the different request, right? Now this is about our dashboard, and and this is also we have built with the help of page component, and we have used several different panels, graphs, and we have embedded the different sort of information over here, like the report, the work orders and the maintenance. All this we have embedded within this particular dashboard, right? Now moving to the next, we have the request. So this particular request is specifically for the employees view, right? So the employee will be raising the request. So only the employee will have the access to this particular module, right? So these are all the so far created requests, and over here you could see what are all the requested, what are all the approved, in progress, completed, all requests. All those information is viewed, all those information are viewed within this panel. Again, this is built with the help of page component. Now let me try to add a new request. So when I click on the add a request, this will take me to another UI where I'll be able to choose the different products, right? So you could see so we have just taken the IT as an use case, right? So we have uploaded the mobile, laptop. So we have several more products, right? So within these products you could see few are in stock and few are in out stock. So which is nothing but we are just even if it goes out stock, the employee can still go ahead and raise the request, so that it will move to the procurement, so that it will move to the procurement process, where the procurer will be raising the purchase order, right? So whether if it is in stock, if the product is in stock, the product will be directly go ahead and assigned to the respective employee, right? So this is something that the employee can do. And apart from this, if I just click on a particular product, I'll be able to see the detailed view of that particular product, along with the product description and the lifetime details, the warranty details, maintenance schedule details, and the description, right? So now let me go and add a particular product. So first let me try to explain you how this in stock works. So I'll just add this product and I'll just go with one quantity. So however, I mean, how many quantity that is required, you can add them over here, and you can click on the add button. So this will be added to the cart, and here in the expected date, you can just mention when you would like to receive this particular product. So let's say I would like to receive this by tomorrow, and if there is any remarks that you would like to give, you can give them over here. Now I'll just click on the create request. So once I added the request, this will take me to another UI where I'll get to see the complete timeline. So right now we are into the first process, which is we have requested, and this is requested by me since I have just logged in. So it's showing my name, and whoever is the reporting manager to this particular person, their name will be popped up over here. So they need to approve this particular request. So once that is approved, it will wait for the review where the Assert admin will be reviewing the request. So once he reviews and once he finds that the product is in stock, he will be assigning the asset to the employee. Whereas if the product is out stock, then he will be raising the purchase order, right? And then once the purchase order is raised, and once the product is received, the whole process will be completed, right? Now let's go to the next process where we are going to approve it. So the approval can be done only by the manager, and as of now I am in the admin view, so I can view all of the modules, right? So I'll go to the approvals, and this is the request that we have raised, right, for the Dell. And it's the you could see the requested date, expected date, the status. Now I can either approve the request or I can reject the request. So this is the custom button that we have created here. Now I'll click on this approve. And once I click on the approve, you could see a pop-up displaying where you could see the request ID, requested date, what are all the products, the order total, and if there is any comments that you can add them over here. Again, this particular UI is built with the help of notes field, and with the notes field, we have just implemented the HTML and Deluge. Right. So now I'll approve this. So post approving, the next process is going to be, it needs to be reviewed by the Assert admin. So in order to review it, you could see this 3 dot, right? By clicking on this, you will have the option called review, right? So if I click on this review, this will take me to another UI where I'll see the requested date and a subform for the product list where the product will be auto-populated, the required quantity in stock, the request assigned type, and the taken in stock. So this is another, so here we have just used the AI algorithm where request assigned type. So whenever if the product is in stock, this will automatically populate that the product is in stock. Whereas if the product is out stock, if it is an out of stock, then the request assigned type will move to another status called move to create purchase order. So that is another move to create purchase order. So this is another assigned type you can choose from here, whereas it will just automatically auto populates the respective status over here, right? Now I'll just update this. So since the product is in stock, it is automatically showing me as in stock. Now I'll update it. So you could see the status is approved and it is in stock. So once the product is in stock, and once the manager approves, and once the Assert admin reviews, the product will be automatically assigned to this respective employee. So in order to check that, I can go to the Assert module. So if I just click on this Assert module, So over here, you could see the asset that we have raised along with the brand, the category, the subcategory, barcode, owned by asset is currently, so end of life. All that will be viewed from here. So I just a second. So like this, you could see the asset status, whether it is asset is currently ready to assign or whether it is in use. All those information will be visible over here. So if you could see here, the ready to assign, you can also see the end of life. On clicking of a particular asset, this will take you to the detail view where you could see a summary of the recent activities when it is assigned and the product details. What is the product that they have chosen and the work order, and along with that, the maintenance and the history detail. So everything will be shown within this particular detailed view. Now let me go, and here is where once it is once I mean, if it is ready to assign, you then need to give them to the employee, right? So there is one more step that is required. So by clicking on this three dot, you will have something called update. So by just clicking on this update, this will shows the product information, the end of life for the product, the brand, the category, the image of the product, the description. And here is where you need to update the serial number. So post updating the serial number of this asset, the asset will be assigned to the employee, and you can just distribute to the employee. So the serial number is nothing but there is going to be a unique number for each and every asset, right? So that is something you need to update over here. So let me give a serial number over here. Right, so this is my serial number. Now below that, you could see the method, whether it is end of life cycle or whether it is based on the usage, and the purchase details, if there is any purchase order that we have raised for that particular product, and the warranty details, and along with that, the maintenance detail. Right, now click on the update. So the status will be changed to in use. Since we have updated the serial number and since we have just distributed the asset to the employee, the status will be changed to in use, right? So this is one way where you can go ahead and assign the asset to the employee when the product is in stock, right? Whereas if the product goes out of stock, or whether if the product is not in stock, then the process is going to be different. So again, I'll go to the request and I'll add a request. Now I'll just add this particular or let me try to add the iPhone 16, which is in out of stock. I'll add this with single quantity, and the expected date I'm giving here is April 8, and I'll create the request. The next is again it will take you to another UI where you could see the timeline. What are all the different steps that it needs to be followed? Now I'll go to the approval. Again, the manager needs to approve the request. So I'll just approve. So it is approved now. Now the next process is going to be, it needs to be reviewed by the assert admin. So clicking on this three dot, clicking on the review. Yeah. So right now you could see here it is showing request assign type as move to create purchase order. So it automatically it automatically analyze, and it will gives you, it will show the information, like it will auto populate the information. So it's stating that move to create purchase order. So once you update this, you could go to the procurement, and that request will be under the procurement. So if I click on the procurement, so the product that I have requested is iPhone 16. So whatever the product that I'm requesting, and if the we have several vendors, right? So if the vendors have the same product with them, those vendor list will be populated within this dashboard. So right now I could see two vendors have this iPhone 16, right? So based on the different employees, based on the requirement, I can go ahead and choose a respective vendor, right? So basically, based on the request and based on the product that you are requesting, the vendor will be populated over here, right? So if the vendor has that particular product, the vendor will be listed over here. So now I'll just click on this add PO, and I'm just choosing the Zilker as the vendor. So here you can see a detailed view. So vendor organization, the contact person, the email, the phone number. Below that, whatever the product that we have chosen, it will be automatically auto populated, and required quantity, unit cost, and the cost. So here, if you want to enter the shipment address, you can add them along with the tax number. So let me add the shipment number quickly. So just giving the postal code and the country. And if you have any tax number, that can be updated here. So once these informations are added, you can submit this form. And once it is submitted, you could see the submitted purchase order request over here. So it will move to the next module, which is the purchase order, and our purchase order ID is PO18. And you could see the vendor that we have chosen, and the product detail, and the subtotal, all rest of the information, right? Now here you can maintain your purchase, you can go ahead and request for the purchase order. Now the next process involves is we need to get the products or the assets from the different vendor, right? So in order to maintain those in order to maintain those set of different process, we have our another application, which is the procurement application, which we have already showcased in our previous session for the Tech Connect. So you can just go ahead and integrate that particular application with the asset management to go ahead and keep a track of all your purchase order and the GRN, all the different set of information into the procurement application, right? So you will have a detailed track on when you will receive, and when you will what is the vendor, and what is the status of the purchase order. All those information can be maintained within that procurement application, and if you want to use them, you can integrate the procurement application with this asset management, right? Now once you receive the goods, once you receive the products, the next step is going to be, you will be creating the invoice. So the creating invoice can be done within here. So you have a custom button called create invoice. By clicking this custom button, it will take you to another UI where it will ask you to enter the invoice number. So I'll say, and it will automatically fetch and show the product details. I'll upload the invoice as well. This is my invoice, and the next is the product. Whichever product that you have chosen, it will auto populate. And here comes in another part. So there can be a situation where the vendor can only deliver partial products, only the partial items. If in case if he is delivering only partial items, so in that case, you can just add whatever the you can just add the received numbers count over here. So let's say I have ordered 10 quantities of Apple iPhone, and I've received only 5. So that is something you can add them over here. And once the product is completely received from the vendor, you can add the rest of the delivered items within the subform, and then you can close the invoice, right? So right now you could see we have the required quantity 1, so the delivered is 1. Now I'll submit this. Post submitting, the invoice will be raised. So we'll just click here. So this is the invoice. The invoice can be you can take a print of it. Even you can go ahead and take it as the PDF. And if you go to the purchase order, here the custom button will be disabled, because the invoice is generated already and we have received the goods, right? Whereas if it is partially received, so here you could see, if it is partially received, the button will still be active. Excuse me. So this is about how you will be raising the purchase order request when you do not have the respective product in stock, right? So we saw two ways of creating the or adding the request, right? Now apart from this, you also have another module for the assets. So in the assets, you could see whatever the assets that you have, whatever the assets that you are going to assign it to the employees, that will be assigned over here. And also if you could see, after receiving the product, it will be automatically assigned to the employee. So this is the one that we have created, right? So this is automatically, you could see the status is ready to assign. Now I can go to the update and I can update the serial number. So I'll say SI and I'll update it. So once I update the serial number, the status will be changed to in use, right? So like this, you can like this, the assigning part will be automatically done in the backend. And then you have the inventory module. So in the inventory module, so whatever product, so this is basically going to act as the product inventory. So you could see all, you could have the stock information stored within the inventory. And then comes the complaint. So again, this is going to be the employee view, where the employee can go ahead and raise the request, if raise the complaint if he faces any display issue, or if the keypad is not working, or if the mobile is broken, or if the screen is not working. So any complaints can be raised within this particular module. So I can just click on this raise a complaint. Yep. So over here, I can choose my asset ID. So asset ID is 95 and the asset name is iPhone 16. The complaint is going to be, let's say it's the display broken. Whereas if you want to add a new complaint, you can click on here and you can have the complaint name over here. So let me choose display broken, and here the title is going to be again broken, and the priority is going to be high priority. If you have the product image, you can upload them, and when you want to receive the product again post the complaint, so you can choose the expected date over here and you can submit this. So your complaint is raised with the complaint ID 17, right? Now the next part is going to be, this request should have been created within the work order. So if I go to the work order, open compliance, let me go to the compliance again. So I think this is not assigned. Okay, let me take this particular ID. So let me go to the work order now. And if I go to the in progress, so I have this work order ID. So I could see this one, or maybe let me try to add one more complaint. So assert ID, the complaint is display broken. Priority is high and the expected date is going to be 8. All right. Okay, now let me go to the work order again. I'll just quickly explain you. So let's take this work order, which is work order ID 13. Now, so it will, once you add the complaint, it will be automatically created to the work order as well. It's not required for you to go ahead and add them. Whereas if you want to add them, you can again click on the add work order. and you can choose the respective asset ID, and here you can choose the complaint type, and over here you can also provide the complaint title. So let me just quickly add, and the priority can be chosen from here, and expected date, assigned to, and the work order. Right, so if you choose the respective work order, you would have already configured the work order within your setup work order template. So based on this work order, whatever the task is assigned within the work order, that will be auto populated over here. Now I'll submit this. So the work order is created and it is showing in the in progress. Now if I go to the technician, so we have just assigned it to a technician named Lucas. So if I go to the technician, so right now it is in the technician view, where the technician would have received the pending work order. So this is the work order that we have created now, right? So what he can do is, once the complaint or once the job is done, he can just click on this update, and over here if there is the status, right? So you can just choose the respective status. If it is completed, you can just click on the completed and you can update it. So like this, you can go ahead and update the job one by one, and this can be tracked within the compliance as well. So I'll show you now. If I just click on here, you could see on top here, the technician completed 25% of work. Now if I go to the technician again, and if the technician completes another job, if I just say completed, and if I just update it again, if I go to the complaints, the technician completed 75% of work. Whereas if the whole job is completed, if you just if you just manually add the status, and if you have just used any spare parts, you can just add them. So let me try to add the spare parts and I'll update it. So once it is completed, it will also move to the from pending work order to all work orders. And if I go to the compliance, I'll be able to see the complete status in my completed module. So over here you could see technician completed 100% of work. So like this, you can keep a track on you can keep a track on which percentage that the work is completed by the technician, right? So again, if you go to the technician's module, he will be able to update the status from here, and as well as he can update the status from here. If he wants to add parts, he can click on this button and he can add it. If he wants to update the status, you can just update or click on the update button from there, and you can choose the respective status and you can update the job that are done. So like this, all the pending work order and all the work order that is assigned so far to him will be listed within this UI. And in the backend, again, we have used the page component to display these different panels along with the different models that you could see here with the different tabs, right? So this is about the compliance part, how we will be handling. And apart from this, you also have the preventive maintenance. So preventive maintenance, as I mentioned, whenever a particular whenever there is any whenever you assign a particular asset to the employee, if that particular asset has already have any scheduled maintenance, that will be showcased over here. So if I go to the upcoming, so this is the one I recently raised, service ID 95, right? So you could see this is in the upcoming and it is scheduled for 3rd April. Maintenance date is 3rd April 27, right? So like this, whenever there is an asset is going and assigning that, whenever you are assigning a particular asset to the employee, once he receives the asset, it will be automatically added to the preventive maintenance with the scheduled date, right? And you could see the pending if there is any pending maintenance activity that can be seen here, and if there is any completed activities, that will also be visible here, and overall maintenance activity will be visible over here. right? So in case, again, this process is automatic process. It's not required for you to go ahead and add the maintenance each and every time when you assign the assets to the employee. Whereas in case if you wish to add the maintenance newly, you can just click on this add or maintenance button, and you can add the respective asset for the scheduled maintenance, right? So this is everything about the application, and I hope I have covered all of the modules. So I hope this application will gives you, and it's also very, I mean, you can also go ahead and maintain track all your assets effectively with this application. Now let me take you to the presentation, and from here we will discuss how you can use the AI within your asset management. So, what are all the enhancements that you can do with the help of AI in the asset management, right? So, talking about the AI enhancements, so you can go ahead and do the automated purchase. Automated purchase invoice processing, and this can be achieved with the help of OCR. So OCR is nothing but the optical character recognition, which will extract the key details like the invoice number, the vendor name, the amount, the tax information from a scanned invoice under receipt. So if you are receiving any invoice, you can, if you would like to store those invoice data into a particular report, you can just use the OCR. You can extract those information and you can save them within the report, right? And so by the benefit of doing this is it will obviously speed up the invoice processing, it reduces the error, and it ensures the accuracy. And then we have the feedback sentiment analysis. So this is nothing but, again, we have a separate AI field which is called the sentiment analysis. So this will helps you in analyzing the employee feedbacks on asset, such as the reviews or the complaints. So let's say you have got a particular product from a vendor, right? So the product will be used by the employee. So when the employee is using the product, there might be certain issues with the product, right? So on that case, you can analyze the issue and you can identify the who is the vendor, and based on that you can change, based on that particular review or feedback that you receive for the vendor, you can change the vendor, right? So it will be very much helpful for you to track the asset satisfaction and improve the asset management strategies. Then we have the asset terms and condition extraction. So here you can scan the contracts and extract the critical clauses such as the warranties, maintenance term, and renewal dates. So basically you can use the OCR again here to just go ahead and extract the key terms from the agreements. And by doing this, it will ensure the contract compliance and reduces the manual effort in tracking the terms. So whatever the AI that I'm discussing now, it is readily available for you to use within the creator. So all you have to do is you just need to drag and drop the particular AI field, and you can start using them to obtain the such process. And then you also have another, which is the procurement expense analysis. So this is nothing but it is the AI review, where you can the AI review reviews the procurement transaction to identify spending patterns across different asset categories. So it will basically help you in the budget planning and also helps you in the cost control. And most frequently purchased asset insights. So here we have our prediction model. So with the help of prediction model, even the predictive depreciation analysis, with these two processes can be achieved with the help of prediction. So basically talking about the predictive prediction analysis, it will helps you in selecting the it will improve the asset lifecycle management and budgeting. So you can analyze, you can go ahead and forecast the asset depreciation trends based on the usage data and the market condition. And this particular line, which is the most frequently purchased asset insights, this will evaluate the vendor reliability based on the historical data, such as the delivery time, uh, I'm sorry Yeah, so you can also go ahead and get the details of the purchase from the vendors. So all that can be achieved with the help of the prediction field that we have within the creator, right? So these are all the few of the AI enhancements that you can achieve within the asset management application that we have showcased in today's session. Apart from this, there are many more AI that we have in our creator platform. You can just go ahead and explore them, and you can use them efficiently within this application, right? And talking about the extended use cases, the same application you can use for the facility and the equipment management. So where you can so for example there is going to be the facility manager and the admin teams, so they can go ahead and maintain the digital inventory of the office assets, and the preventive maintenance to reduce the downtime, repair request and vendor assignment, asset depreciation. All that can be maintained within this facility equipment management. So you can go ahead and use the application that we have showcased in today's session. You can use it for the facility and equipment management as well. And vehicle fleet management, so basically there is going to be the logistic teams, fleet managers, transport departments, who will be assigning the vehicles to specific drivers or routes, right? So that is something you can achieve, or that is something you can maintain within the asset management application. And then we have the lab and medical equipment tracking. So there is going to be many equipments that you will be using inside the labs, right? So those are different sort of those are the different sort of so those are the different sort of the assets that you can maintain it within your application. And apart from this, you also have the you also have the construction and heavy machinery tracking. So where the construction firms, the equipment rental companies, they will be using different sort of assets to maintain, right? So those can be maintained within this particular application. So these are all the extended use cases that I would like to discuss in today's session, right? So not only for the IT or the manufacturing that you can use the asset management, apart from this, you can also go ahead and use these different set of to these different set of industries as well, right? And and then a link if you guys would like to receive the I mean, if you want to um sorry so yeah, these are the different upcoming sessions that we have, which is Creator Tech Connect series and the Learning Table series. So talking about the Creator Tech Connect series, we have planned this particular session on April 9 and 10 around 11 a.m. IST. So there is going to be two session is going to happen. One session is for Zoho Creator feature enhancement, and the other session is for product release update. So it's going to be a back to back session. So we are going to discuss about all the different enhancements that we have made for the existing feature within Creator. And in the session 2, we are going to understand what are all the new release features that we have that is there within the Creator platform. So if you guys are interested to learn more about that, you can scan this QR code and you can register for the session. And then we have our Learning Table series planned for the May month, which is going to happen on May 8th, again at the same time 11 a.m. IST. So this time we are going to showcase another different industry. So the industry will be revealed in few more days. What is the industry that we are going to focus for the May month? So that will be revealed in few more days. So if you guys are interested to attend the session, you can scan the QR code and you can register for the session. And apart from this, I would also like to talk about our Zoho Creator online training. So we have our dedicated online training. If you want to learn more concepts in Creator, more extensive concepts in Creator, we have two different trainings, and the one stage 1 and stage 2. So stage 1 is where we'll be covering all the basic concepts in Creator, and stage U is where we will be covering all the advanced concepts in Creator. So currently we have our upcoming stage 2 online training scheduled for April 7 to 9, around 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. So if you guys are interested, you can scan this QR code, and we are currently providing $100 discount. So this offer is going to be for a while. So if you guys are interested, you can scan this QR code and you can register for the session. So it's a paid training. So currently we are offering $100 discount for every users. Right. So also the link will be shared in the chat tab by my co-trainer, the session links and the training links. So if you guys are interested, you can register for the session. Right. So that's it from my end. So if you guys have any questions from the topic or from the application that we have discussed in today's session, you can post them in the question tab. And I hope many of you are already posting the questions in the question tab, and also my co-trainer is answering all of your questions. In case if you have furthermore questions, you can also drop them in the question tab right now. We will be answering. And yeah, also if you have any further queries, you can reach out to training@zohocreator.com. And I hope the session was very much helpful for you guys. So again, if you have any doubts or any clarification needed, you can drop a mail to us by writing to training@zohocreator.com. And I once again thank you each and everyone for actively being participated in this webinar. So again, I hope this is very much helpful and insightful. So we will meet you all in our upcoming webinar. And thank you from us. Thank you all.